over, and for that you might need about maybe 1.5 yards of fabric. So what I'm going to do first is to fold my fabric into two. This is the easiest thing you can make. The next thing is to check my hip measurement, because it's going to be the widest part, and my hip measurement is 48 divided by 4. That's going to be 12, and then I'm going to add extra 1 inch to it for my seam allowance. So like I said, divide your hip measurement by 4 and add 1 inch. So my hip measurement by 4 is 12 plus 1, that's 13. So the next thing I'm going to do is to check the length, right? So the length of this, remember, it's not going to start at your shoulder. It's going to start somewhere in front of your bust, just maybe at the top of your bust. It depends on you where you want it to start. So for me, mine is going to be, so I checked where I want mine to start and the full length. So from where I want it to start to the full length is going to be like 28 inches, right? So I'm going to add 1 inch at the end here, and then 1 inch at the top. So what I'll have here is about 30 inches. The 1 inch is because I will fold this top part, 1 inch for folding the top and 1 inch for folding the bottom. So when I'm done, I'll have 28 inches left. So I'm going to mark it now. So the next thing you're going to do is to measure the distance, like that square part that looks like a pinafore, how you want the length you want it to be. So my own, I want it to be like 12 inches width. So if you want, you can make yours smaller. If you want, you can use 10 inches, but for me, I'm going to make mine 12 inches. So, and I'm going to just 12 inches by 2, that's because the fabric is folded into 2. That's going to be about 6. So I'm going to mark the 6 here, and then the next thing you're going to measure is your side, how much opening you want at the side. If you want your opening to be maybe from that same length where you want this top part to start, that's on top of your bust, then you measure it. Maybe you want it down to your waist, or just a little bit below your waist. So you just measure that. So for me, I'm going to be using about 12 inches. So I'm going to come down here by 12 inches and then mark it here. So you see, and then the next thing you're going to do now is to transfer that same hip measurement all over. So you see, if you want your pencil, when you come down to the bottom here, you can always go ahead and subtract 1 inch, and then you have like this pencil shape. But if you don't want it, you just want it square, because I want mine just square and free. So that's why I'm not going to subtract any 1 inch here, because I don't want it bent. And then after that, you're just going to curve this part like the way you would normally curve your sleeve. So curve it this way. If you want, because this is basically it for the front pattern, if you want at this point, you can go ahead and add about 1 inch here, like drafting 1 inch this way, and you use this 1 inch to just fold this fabric on itself, like fold it this way to finish up the end. But for me, I'm not going to do it like that. I'm just going to cut it this way, and then I'm going to use bias to finish it up, because I feel like it will look neater that way. But if you're going for the easiest way to do it, just add 1 inch by the side and just add in 1 inch here, and then go to the sewing machine, fold it like how you normally fold your fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. Guys, as you can see, I've gone ahead, folded my fabric over again, and just the same pattern as the front, so guys, I'm using the same pattern as the front pattern. That's what I'm also using here. So what I'm going to do is just to trace out this front pattern. Like my fabric is already folded, right? I'm just going to trace out all the markings of the side here, and then, so guys, now that I've traced it out, the next thing I have to do, you see, I've traced it out, all the lines. So what I have to do now, because you don't want the back this like square like this, you want it to look something like a triangle. So what I'm going to do now is to mark out about 2 inches here, 2 inches, because I'm going to attach my straps here. So I mark 2 inches here, and then I'm going to connect that in 2 inches and blend it into this line. So I'm blending it into this line, and then just curve it more if you want it more like that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to cut it out. So this is my back panel, right? So this is going to be the back. So guys, as you can see, this is my back here, this is the front here. So I'm just going to open it up and show you guys. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the sewing machine. Remember, I left 1 inch at the top here to fold it with. So what I'm going to do is just go to the sewing machine and fold that 1 inch, just like how you normally fold the end of your clothes. Fold it and sew it down, right? And then after that, I'm also going to do the same thing for the front. I'm going to fold this top part here, just the same way I folded this here. You see, I'm going to fold this part, but then the sides here, I'm going to use bias for it. So I'm just going to use this bias to finish up the sides. And then when I'm done, I'm going to join the front and the back together. So guys, as you can see, I've gone ahead and finished the back. You see what I was saying? I used bias to finish the side, but the top part, remember we left 1 inch at the top to fold it and then 1 inch for folding the bottom, but I'm yet to fold the bottom, so I've gone ahead and joined it. So this is the front here, this is the front side, and then this is the back. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take this here. I've gone ahead and made my belt, so just make like something like this. Basically, you just fold your fabric, get your fabric, maybe 4 inches of width or 5 inches of width. You fold it this way and then just make a stitch all the way down, and then you flip it inside out. So that's how I made this. So what I'm going to do now is to I feel like mine is the width is small. So if you want yours, if you want yours wider than this, maybe you can go for about maybe 5 inches of width before you fold it. That's 5 inches fabric that is open this way, and then when you fold it, you have to, and then use half an inch to sew the end. You have 2 inches left. So this is mine. I think mine I used 4 inches, so that's why I have about 1.5 inch left here. So what I'm going to do is to put this one on this side here, and then put the second one on this side here, right? And then I'm going to make a stitch on top here. So I'm going to make a stitch here to hold this down, and then after that I'm going to go ahead and put my pocket. So guys, this is what I have here for my pocket. So the length I'm working with is about 12 inches, and then the width is 10 inches of width. So this is, I folded the top part here, so just fold about 1.5 inch at the top, and then you use that same, because I want my pocket, most part of it to be in front, and then a little bit of it to go to the back. So that's how I'm going to place it. So I'm going to place it this way. So as you can see, I'm moving about 4 inches, or let's say 4.5 inch of it to the back. So it's going to be by the side this way. So what I'm going to do is just take a pin and hold it down this way, right? I came down about, from my armhole here, I came down about 3 inches, and then I placed the pocket. So 3 inches, I placed the pocket here. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm just going to go to the sewing machine. The way it is now, I'm just going to fold half an inch on this side, make a stitch all the way down. When I get to this point, I'm going to also fold it again, half an inch all the way to the back, right? And then the same thing, when I get to this point, I'm going to fold it again. So this is how my pocket will look on the side, you see. And when you're doing it, remember to sew on one side. So you open up your fabric this way, and then you start sewing. So I'm going to do it on the 2 sides of this dress here. If you don't want your pocket to be at the back a little, you can always just move the pocket in, like move this, you can move it in and just maybe make it like 1 or 2 inches at the back, or you can just make your pocket smaller and make everything in front. It depends on how you want the pocket to be. So I'm going to go ahead and attach mine now. So guys, I've gone ahead and put in my pocket. So this is what it looks like. So the next thing I have to do, I've also folded the end. The next thing I have to do is to go ahead and put buttons. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put a bigger button out here just for design, one here and then one here. But then I'm going to take these smaller ones and put it behind it, right? I'm going to put the smaller ones behind it. Then I'm going to make a buttonhole on this strap, so that when I button it, it goes on the inside, right? Except you don't mind, then you can also just use one button at the top here and then button it. But then just know that this flap will be out here, but I don't want the flap out here. So I'm just going to put one button out here for design, and then put a tiny button behind it. So guys, as you can see, I've put in my button, and then I put it the same time. So this one is here, and then this one is on top. So what I'm going to do now is just to open up this with a razor, and then just use this to hold it down on the inside. And when you're done, if you feel like this part is too open, maybe you might want to come in a little when you're sewing it, like maybe come in by half an inch and just narrow it a little. If you don't want it too open by the side, just narrow it in maybe by half an inch on each side, and then just maintain the hip all the way down. So that's basically it. This is something you can just do even as a beginner. It's very easy to make. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.